calling it a shocking crime. Authorities telling us a mother drove her adult daughter to have sex with someone she thought was a 14-year-old boy. But as our Adam Weiner shows us, they were actually walking right into the hands of law enforcement.
Police say this double arrest really came by surprise. They say as they were trying to catch one woman in the act of trying to exploit a minor, they learned her own mother was helping.
Mom!
When 23-year-old Kratoya Hall entered this Northport home,
Okay, but dang, look how y'all grabbing me.
she expected a 14-year-old client.
No, ma'am, nothing.
She was not expecting the police. That case was very unique to where one of our undercover detectives, supposed to be a 14-year-old boy looking for someone to have sex with, for exchange of money. Captain Chris Morales says Hall was responding to an internet-based ad and was expecting to be paid $400 cash. He says what was especially shocking was that Hall's own mother played a part. When she did arrive, lo and behold, we learned that not only did she come in a vehicle, but her mother had drove her to the residence. That mother, Tawana Holmes,
disgusting.
was also arrested. It was shocking. Yeah, absolutely, yes. Both Hall and Holmes are charged with prostitution, attempted battery of a minor, and traveling to lure a minor for sex. In Sarasota County, Adam Weiner, ABC Action News.
These hood rats are disgusting. While I'm sitting here waiting on these people to make my pizza, because I haven't been out for a while since this whole shelter-in-place thing has been going on in the state of Illinois, I decided to, just come out and get some fresh air. And there are still a lot of restaurants that are open for curbside pickup, meaning you can't come inside, but you call in, order your food, and then they come out with gloves and bring it to you. And so I figure, a hot pizza on a nice sunny day, maybe with a Coke Zero or something. Why not, after being in quarantine for over a month? Plus, the pizza's hot, so no germs, including coronavirus, is gonna be able to last on it. So I'm out here, waiting 25, 30 minutes for them to make my food at this restaurant called Rosati's. And I'm just, browsing on my phone and come on YouTube, and there's a recommended video that is 5 years old, but it's still coming up as a recommended video on my YouTube homepage. I click on it, and it's this shit. And when I watched it, it took me a while, because at first I thought what they were saying was, and I wouldn't put it past black whores, but at first I thought they were saying that they were soliciting a 14-year-old male prostitute for sex. But what they were saying was that this was a mama and daughter hoe duo. It was a whore team of a mother and a daughter that were about to try to sell themselves to what they thought was a 14-year-old boy for sex. And they didn't know it was a police sting. They didn't care that the boy was underage. And when I saw this, the first thing I thought was just, downloading. Because, when black women like Paris Milan, when they talk about how black, and even Cynthia G, when these idiot bimbos talk about how black men bash black women, and, we're painting them in a bad light, and we're cyberbullying, if y'all notice, on my channel, sometimes I don't even draw breath. What do? Anybody who's watched my shit longer than 2 years, in some cases, all I do is simply take shit that I found from YouTube or Facebook, download it, and just re-upload it to my channel. Sometimes, and this would have been one of those stories where I could have done that. It don't even need no color commentary. You know how, when you watch like professional sports like football or basketball, they have those sports broadcasters coming in. They paid a lot of money. They're like, the sports broadcaster is like the music that you hear when you go to the grocery store. You don't need it to go shopping. You don't need it to watch the game, but it kind of adds to, I guess they feel it adds to the excitement. So they're giving you a play by play while you're watching the shit. And so, essentially that's what I could do. But in some cases, some stories, it doesn't need any extra words. I mean, I could have literally just uploaded this and left this shit right here for y'all to see with the title. And that would have spoke more words in 1.5 minutes or however long that fucking video was than I could have said in the next 20. But I did feel like I needed to bring up two specific points about this video. One of the things is, when black women and, specifically these colorism crybabies like Paris Milan, when they talk about, how black men don't pick them or don't choose them because of the color of their skin, but they want to turn around and call themselves queens and strong and independent. I just simply ask them, when you see shit like this, when you see the shit that these bimbo whores are doing on social media like Instagram and Facebook, how could you expect any man that's in his right mind, that's not a Pookie and Ray Ray now, or some wigger trailer trash degenerate, any man worth his salt and grain, why would any man want to deal with that type of female? Except for busting a quick nut. And quite frankly, if you've noticed, there's a lot of dudes that aren't even risking or wasting they nut on a lot of these hoes. Okay? You're talking about not only a 23-year-old ghetto gagger, but she is teamed up with her mother. Her mother showed her the ropes. And we've been talking about for years how these females, just like their sons, their daughters learn how to be ratchet and whorish and ghetto just like them. But then I thought about something else. And I'm gonna close with this because I didn't even intend to make any video. I'm just out here trying to enjoy my day to day. This was not scripted. This was not planned. Since this quarantine thing's been going on, as y'all gonna find out, I've just had a lot more time. I'm not working, so I have a lot more time to just just fritter away time, looking at videos, producing videos, whatever. But then I thought back to R. Kelly and that documentary with all them idiot bimbos that I have yet to watch and probably never will, unless I'm looking specifically for the purpose of research, and gathering information. But I haven't watched that stupid ass documentary. I've seen clips and previews of it, but I have not seen the full documentary. But I remember that documentary, Surviving R. Kelly, that sparked a new law enforcement investigation at several state and federal levels against R. Kelly. And we all know at this point the feds have him. His ass is basically grass. He's probably never going to get out of prison. They'll probably give him more time than they gave OJ. If he gets anything less than 30 years, I'd be thoroughly surprised. But I remember all of those hoes. I remember all of those hoes that were coming forward, crying, playing victim and crying and acting like R. Kelly was kidnapping them and holding them against their will. And I'm looking and I'm listening to these females. Most of them resemble, the type of female that you saw in this report. And then, I even thought about that incident in Oklahoma City with that white Asian half-breed cop Daniel Holtzclaw, and how he was sentenced to 263 years for quote-unquote raping a bunch of black women, and how more than half of the black women that he allegedly raped were known prostitutes and drug addicts. Now that don't make what he did right. But then I fast forward to this clip, and it only solidifies what I said about R. Kelly from the beginning. I said, I don't feel sorry for him. He gets what he deserves because he knew about messing around with underage girls. And, even that thing with Jason Pope, that too. And you had these idiotic bimbos talking about black men didn't protect the black women. First of all, You can't save somebody. I think Equazi even made reference to this so many years ago. Ain't no saving something or somebody that don't want to be saved. That's number one. Okay. Number two, this is what these hoes do from a early age. And a lot of the time they learn it from the adult females around them. I've lived and worked around many known black hoes. Now I did blame black men for one thing with Jason Pope. Okay. I said that and I still stand by that. A lot of you Negroes were in love with that white boy before black women were in love with him. And what I mean by that is y'all let him into y'all circle. Okay. Y'all put him on a pedestal because he was a white boy claiming to be a hip hop DJ or whatever the fuck. Okay. Y'all did that. And once he gained access, then, it was no holds barred at that point. Okay. So I still stand by that. But these females are acting like they're just standing around waiting for black men to protect them or stand up for them, or, they're ready to get behind black men as they lead the way. That's bullshit. Okay. These hoes love hoeing. And I said it again. I said it with R. Kelly. And I will say it a million times. R. Kelly was not alone. He was not alone in molesting those young girls. Okay? He did not go and pick up those young girls off the streets by himself. Okay? It is known, although, the law enforcement, because they want to turn these ex-whores and female pimps into, witnesses at his trial to bury him, because, the target is the black man. It is known, not just with R. Kelly, but it is well known. These girls that he had, that he was making the sex tapes with, and claim, he was forcing them to eat their feces and peeing on them and all that shit. It's known that these girls, a lot of them, were sent to R. Kelly. And a lot of them were not only sent to R. Kelly, they weren't sent to R. Kelly by male pimps, a lot of them. A lot of them were sent to R. Kelly by female relatives and friends. This is a known fact. Okay? As a matter of fact, I recall with my own sister, and the only reason I share this story is because it was a plan that was thwarted. There was this girl, I'm gonna call her ass out, first name Deanna, that used to be a friend. She used to be a family friend of my sister's, because they went to school together and everything. I think they were like, 13, 14 years old. And one time she came over, she called my sister at night while we were, all at home with my parents. And she asked Ariel if she wanted to go out to see an Alicia Keys concert. And, she was very adamant that, it was going to be it was a huge show, yada, yada, yada. And, she was trying to get Ariel to come. And what I found immediately strange was that Deanna had never asked my sister to go out. She had never asked her to go out at this time of night before. So I was like, I didn't even know Deanna, she's young, I guess, whatever, but Alicia Keys concert? Like, really? At this time of night, she knows my parents are relatively strict people. Why is she so adamant about this? So she called back a few times, and then she came around the house. With a group of people, and my sister, she went out and she talked with her outside, and then she came back in the house, and apparently it was Deanna with a group of other people, including some boys, and she was telling my sister what time the show started. And we're looking at the time, first of all, and it's 9 p.m. Now, I've never been to a concert, but I know most of them start at about 9 p.m. because they're usually like, 2 or 3 hour shows, and they're not going to get out till midnight or sometime early in the morning anyway. So she's claiming to Ariel that this show starts at 10 p.m. So that made all of us a little suspicious. So me and my dad, we started looking on the internet. Google is your friend. I tell you, we started looking on the internet for any shows, any concert shows, um, that were going on that day, on that night. And we couldn't find anything about Alicia Keys. She claimed it was at the United Center, which is on the south side of Chicago. We couldn't find anything booked for Alicia Keys in Chicago at all during that date. The only thing we found was an Alicia Keys concert that happened like 3 months ago. And now I think that was on Ticketmaster website or whatever. So we started getting suspicious. And longer story short, after an investigation, and I believe it was my dad, figuratively getting on Deanna's case, come to find out, we finally figured out what was going on. Deanna's little fast ass was true. She had made a promise to some boys that were older. She was like 14. These boys were like 18, 19 years old. She had made a promise to them that she was going to get one of her female friends to go to this house party with them. And we know where that could have led. Okay. So my point in bringing up this story is that these little hoes, they start out young. They learn a lot of this from their female relatives. And yes, while, men are usually demonized as sexual perverts, there are a lot of these females that are pimping young girls. They're what y'all remember that Uber driver? I made a video on that back in I think like 2018. Hispanic Uber driver, he figured out that he was driving a 16-year-old black girl with her two adult female pimps to a John at a hotel, this Asian John. And he called the police, got all four of them fucking idiots arrested. Okay? So, yes, black females are pedophiles too. Yes, they are child molesters too. And if this doesn't prove to you that these hoes, what I tell y'all about these hoes, they will do they do shit for one of two reasons, usually. Either they want dick and attention, or they want money and resources, and usually it's a combination of both. If this does not prove what the fuck I've said over the years, I don't know what will. These hoes will literally, and then you got to ask yourself, okay, this is the one time the police caught them. I doubt they're gonna do any serious time. I doubt they'll do any prison time. They might make them register as sex offenders, and they'll probably get them 30 days in jail or something. But if they've done this one, and they're gonna keep hoeing. That they're just gonna try to be a little safer about it. But they're gonna keep hoeing. If they got caught trying to sell that rotted devastation that they call a vagina between their legs, that is loaded with STDs. If they got caught trying to sell that piece of contaminated snatch to a 14-year-old kid, how many times have they actually done that and got away with it? How many little 14-year-old boys have they fucked? I'm talking about the mama and the daughter. But again, these hoes are standing around talking about how black men are painting them in a bad light. No, honey. I didn't create the game. I just play by the rules. Don't get mad if I understand how to play the game a little better than you, bitch. Talk to you later, guys.